Hello and welcome back, Speechsmiths. In this class, we're going to go over the hum vocal warm-up. Probably the most common, the most done throughout all of history. It's literally that, just humming. And the main variations will be louder and quieter and higher and lower. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing as we go through this and how I like to use this warm-up. But usually it's the first one that I'll go to. And all I'm trying to do is start to tune in to my breath and the use of my voice box. I haven't done any vocal warm-up today. I'm going to try to film the videos on this little mini series of vocal warm-ups together now, just as my vocal warm-up, and I'm going to talk you through it. So, the hum. With the breath, first thing we want to do is make sure we have really good posture. So, toes pointing forward, about a hip width apart. They can be slightly out if you want. We don't need to get too anal about all these little details, but there are quite a few for me to go through. And I just start with a nice deep breath, and I'm just expanding my rib cage, feeling the expansion in my belly as well as my diaphragm pushes down, which then rises into my rib cage, my chest, and my shoulders. And as I exhale, I want to keep my spine nice and tall. And it's almost like you get this wings of an eagle coming out and then folding in again. And that's your ribcage spreading out to the sides and then collapsing back in. And the breath moves a little like a wave. And why don't we just do a little hum here? And there I use maybe 60% of my breath capacity, and I can already feel there a change just from that one hum. The hum is the sound of your vocal folds beginning to contract and squeeze the air as it flows through your windpipe and vibrate on that air. So when I start my breath, I'll actually exhale a little bit and then bring and try to feel the moment my vocal folds are tight enough that they start to vibrate. And I'm just doing that really gentle. Ooh, it already feels so much louder and clearer and warmer and richer just from those two. We're going to do a bunch of these. You might notice I'm just starting at a slightly higher pitch as I begin the exhalation, and I'm going down in pitch, and I'm literally just sighing and relaxing. And I find naturally my pitch will tend to drop as I drop my chest and shoulders. I'm not sure the exact physics why, presumably because the vocal folds are getting a little less tight as I relax. So they get to a lower pitch. Then when you hear the pitch level off, that's where I've used most of the air in my chest and shoulders. You've basically got two parts to your breath, your chest and shoulders, which will just go out of you via gravity. I just relax. The air just goes. Then if I, without breathing in afterwards, start to squeeze my diaphragm and keep exhaling and blow the air out, pushing it out, I'm going to engage my diaphragm. And that's what you use most of the time when you're talking. So step back and maybe you can see this a bit better. So I'm going to release, exhale, and then start to push. And I'm just going to do this once just so you can see it. Relax, let gravity push the air out for me. And then keep blowing. But now my diaphragm's engaging, squeezing, 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 and the more I squeeze when I relax, that diaphragm drops, the belly pops out, and the chest and shoulders rise slightly afterwards in this nice smooth wave effect. I'm going to make more videos detailing that, so I won't get into it too deep, but just for now you can see. Relaxing. Now my chest and shoulders are far away from my ears, and I'm using my diaphragm to keep the air going. Now my pitch is staying the same. And straight into another one. Take a couple of resting breaths. There, I didn't go quite as low, I just let it float around. I don't really strictly program these things for myself. I literally just feel my way through it and do it whatever way I feel like doing in that moment. And it can feel quite nice. There's like a weirdly sort of hypnotic trance-like effect you can sort of get yourself into when you're doing it. If you just take your time, don't rush. And I find this is the best way to do any exercise, whether you're working with your text, you're at the gym. Start off really slow and easy, and then work your way into things. So let's go for another hum here. And yeah, I don't know, we'll see whatever we feel like doing. Now my diaphragm's coming in. And as I'm playing with the different pitches, I'm also doing some slightly different resonances. You'll hear it might be a bit more nasal or more deep and chesty, that sort of sound. And when I'm doing that, I'm just letting my vocal, my voice box, my larynx just sort of fall wherever it wants to go and moving it up and down a bit. So there's that. Tongue position. I like to put my tongue sort of up there, up to the alveolar ridge. And if that's the roof of my mouth, I'll let my tongue sort of glue up to the top of the roof of my mouth and swallow and create a bit of a vacuum there. And then I feel all that energy going through my nose. And I just really like that sensation because I've got a bit of a deviated septum. I like to help it clear. And I do find this can help it clear quite a bit. Nice, soft ending there. And I'm really just trying to feel my vocal folds stroking the air, sometimes a bit tighter. And sometimes a bit looser. And I like to just play around with that feeling, those different sensations and contractions, and try to warm up all the different parts of the voice box. Let's do a bit more high and low, and we're gonna maybe go for 70 to 80% of breath capacity. Relax, 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 squeeze, 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 squeeze the diaphragm after the chest and shoulders have dropped beneath the ears, as far away from the ears as you can get them, and keeping your spine nice and tall. you'll find that you'll resonate better when your posture is really tall and strong. There, I'm getting up into my falsetto. You don't talk in your falsetto voice a lot of the time, but it's good to warm up that part of your voice because you just want to get that full stretch, nice squeezing contractions in your voice box. You want to start to utilize and engage and really give a nice squeeze to every muscle in your voice box. And we can start to get a bit more extreme with the pitches. And I don't like to spend too long doing this, especially when I want to move on and do some other exercises. Lip trills, fricatives. And usually what I do is I'll maybe do a light set of each, like a light hum, a light bit of fricative, light bit of lip trill, and sighing. And I just sort of go between them all and start off very gentle in each one and then go back the next round and do something a bit more moderate, the next round something a bit more intense, and then the last round I might go a bit more extreme. But usually I don't like to go beyond that because at that point your voice is very warm and you can sort of tire it out a little bit if you spend a long time doing it, which isn't the worst thing. You can help strengthen your voice doing that, but you'll need to give it a bit more recovery time, and maybe for a couple of hours it will be a little bit more, feel more sort of tight and tired. So you want to find a bit of a sweet spot with this. Let's do a bit of a louder, quieter. And I can feel there my voice wanting to sort of cough. Like if I pushed it more, I'd just and I want to get to that point and then not go too far into it, relax, come back down, and I'll go for another one. You'll hear that I'm getting higher in pitch as I'm sending more air there, and the contraction is getting a little tighter as the air increases and the vibration is getting stronger. It's natural that you'll climb, but I'm not thinking, let me go higher. I'm not trying to go higher necessarily. It's just you can't go super loud if you're very low. That's about as loud as I can go at the very low end. It's not to say you couldn't practice that as well. You could give that a go. Some people quite like that, like a oh. Ooh, yeah, that felt really interesting actually. And just then, when I go to talk, my voice does feel lower. But it's not the loudest we can go. The loudest, I think you'll feel the resonance really in your forehead. It'll be somewhere higher up in your pitch range, still very much in your chest voice, not your falsetto at all. Something like getting to the point where we would be screaming if we were outside, which you basically never do anymore. I just adjusted my. Oh yeah, you hear that? It just feels so much louder, and it takes a lot less energy because your vocal folds get a lot looser after doing that. Careful you don't blow yourself out. First few times you do this, you'll probably find you're like a lot, and that's a sign that you don't want to push that hard. You need to warm up into it a bit more and do it over a few days or weeks, months, or even years. Yeah, I was sort of moving around a bit because I can feel it. My left side, like there's a bit of some constriction there, so I was just shifting pressure onto my right foot, and I felt like it sort of helped it open up a little bit and balance it out a bit more. Okay, yeah, that's probably enough humming for me at this point, especially because I'm going to do some other videos now and make the other ones. The only addition you might add would be something like a nice hiccup at the end. That's getting into the sigh territory though. So with the sigh, I'm just using my chest and shoulders. With the humming, I'll use a bit of my diaphragm a bit more. And yeah, you can play around with that, do some higher pitches, You can try not having your tongue touching the roof of your mouth, but instead just have it dropped. It's slightly different. And I've got a big gap between my teeth. My lips are together, and I would like to feel it vibrating. And you can just shift the sound around. The hum is yours to play with as you see fit. And the point is getting your breath moving, getting your vocal folds, your larynx moving, and just warming up your voice and squeezing and stretching those muscles and enjoying all the different resonances and sounds that you can create with this little thing right here. So enjoy that. Speechsmiths. I'll see you on the next one.